Hello, my name is Cyreeta Brinkley, and I am presenting my interpersonal communication project with Liberty University. Next slide. What is interpersonal communication? Interpersonal communication is the process by which people exchange information, feelings, and meaning through verbal and nonverbal messages. It is face-to-face communication. Interpersonal communication is not just about what is actually said, the language used, but how it is said, and the nonverbal messages sent through the tone of your voice, facial expressions, gestures, and body language. Next slide. Overarching goal. My overarching goals are to become a better listener, to become an effective listener, to become a level 1 listener, and to be able to share the love I have for Jesus more freely and openly with others. Next slide. What's enlarging the conversation? Enlarging the conversation to me means thinking outside of the box, being analytical and more open-minded to the listener and the conversation. Bring more to the conversation, something new, inviting others to join in on the conversation. Next slide. My personal background. I am a 35-year-old African Native American female. I was born and raised in Madison, Georgia. I moved to Atlanta, Georgia when I was in 8th grade, and I currently reside in California. I have been married to a minister for 5 years. I am the mother of two boys, ages 12 and 15. I have an associate's in general studies, a bachelor's of science in healthcare management, and I'm currently pursuing my master's in human services counseling with Liberty University. Next slide. Some influences that are positive for me: family values, intelligent, adjust well, family support, and wisdom. Some negative influences can be discrimination because of my race, too risky, and I can be considered sometimes not a team player. Next slide. My behavioral blend, adapted from Uniquely You assessment. D is active task oriented, I active people oriented, S passive people oriented, C passive task oriented. What's expected of me is SD. What is me? CSD. Next slide. My blend breakdown. This is expected of me. I am direct. I'm outspoken. I am results oriented. I am a leader, problem solver, stable, consistent, family oriented, patient, and a team player. This is me. I am logical. I'm organized. I'm data driven. I am a perfectionist. I'm detail oriented. I can be passive. I'm people oriented. I'm active, task oriented, and a peacemaker. Next slide. Positive behavioral blend. I tend to see the big picture as well as the details. Like things to be organized and effective. I am compliant and follow the rules. I prefer working in small groups and with individuals. I respond best with like-minded individuals like myself. Next slide. Negative behavioral blend. I don't like people to be disappointed in me. I don't respond well to sloppy or messy people. Need to overcome my discomfort to be able to do public speaking. Next slide. Potential barriers. Some physical barriers for me are fatigue, low energy. Fatigue is a factor in listening since listening takes concentration and effort. Faker, pretending to listen while actually focusing on something else, smiling and nodding their heads. Solutions to my physical barriers: listen at a level 2. If information being said pertains to me, I'll listen more effectively and then I'll move to a level 1 listener. I can also jot down notes that can later trigger my memory. Next slide. Noise pollution. Noise pollution is another form or barrier or distraction to effective interpersonal communication. Communication noise refers to influences on effective communication that influence the interpretation of conversations. While often looked over, communication noise can have a profound impact both on our perception of interactions with others and our analysis of our own communication proficiency. There are two types of pollution: internal noise pollution, which is physiological and physiological; external noise pollution, which is physical and semantic. Internal pollution includes lack of concentration in conversation by either ignoring the talker or doing biased listening. External pollution itself is caused by factors such as noise, room temperature, and using unclear language. Next slide. Noise pollution solutions. Internal solutions to noise pollution depend on the talker listener's initiative to identify and to break the cycle of noise. Effective listening involves not only tuning in to others, but tuning into ourselves. Listening carefully to what we say and how we say it can teach us immense amount about ourselves. External solutions to noise pollution are most of the time preventable or more adjustable. This in turn can improve communication when detected early. Next slide. Action plan. I plan to communicate effectively with others in a way that influences interpersonal relationship to a higher level of trust and freedom. To attain level 1 listening, empathetic. To master the timing for asking questions. To use the I rational approach instead of you blaming approach in communication. To use wisdom from God in every conversation with everyone, young and old. To be more positive about life by depending on God to help me build relationships with others by getting to know them better. Next slide. Action plan continued. To listen more attentively. Stay focused on what is being said. Clarify the information that was given. Stop interrupting people when they speak. Be more compassionate and considerate of others to allow them to express themselves. Next slide. Thank you so much for taking the time to get to know me on a more interpersonal level in communications. God bless.